Gonna throw down in an Origin Swiss draft. Done a couple 8-4s lately. Did well in one of them, not so well in the other one. I figure I'm just gonna go back to the Swiss. Make sure I get all three of my games in. They don't have any of the real fun formats going on right now. Legacy Cube will start up tomorrow. They just finished the Time Spiral draft. No Rise of the Eldrazi or any of that stuff yet. Still waiting a bit. It'll be a few weeks before Battle for Zendikar will be online. So right now, just gonna give the old Origins draft a run. Probably not gonna do an Origins draft for a bit after this. We'll see. I've got pre-release weekend coming up, so I won't be doing anything over the weekend. They're gonna have the Legacy Cube up, which I'm dumb enough to want to give a shot. Again, not really familiar with all those cards, a lot of the combinations, but I've played a few, and they are a blast. So, pause this until we get to picking some cards. Okay. We are about to start picking cards. Let's see what they got for me. Chandra's Ignition. Saw that. That is just candy to me. I love this card. It is a very swingy card. It's very easy to get blown out if they remove your creature before you do that. But, I mean, it's really not that hard to play around that kind of stuff unless you're really desperate, which, I mean, would be when the best time to use this would be. But, still, it's the most powerful card in the pack. Other cards of consideration are Wild Instincts, which is solid removal. Thunderclap Wyvern is also excellent. The other thing I like about this particular pick is that it cuts red, although this pack is not terribly interesting, other than really these two cards here, the Wild Instincts and the Thunderclap Wyvern. Nantuka Husk is fine. Idolight Assassin is fine. Gnarlroot Trapper is really only decent if you go on the Elves deck. So, Chandra's Ignition, it is. Alright, now for a good red card. Prickle Boars are excellent for this. Anything with Death Touch is excellent for this. Okay, I've definitely got some options to look into here. I've got a couple solid red cards. Boggart Brute is really good, and I really do love Infectious Bloodlust more than I should. I've just really had success with it. Conclave Dryads is powerful, 4/4 body along with the Disenchant. That's good stuff. But what I'm going to take here is going to be Knight of the White Orchid. It's a 2/2 first strike that can give you some land advantage. If you are on the draw and you can cast him on turn 3 before you play your land, I mean, you can go from 2 to 4 lands on turn 4 and turn the tides. That's an excellent card. And it's white. I know there are red cards, but red-white is a combination that I love being in anyways. I feel it's the strongest combination in here. Okay. Now what do I have to look at? I have Unholy Hunger, which is good removal. Wild Instincts, which is also good removal. Throwing Knife, which is okay removal, but it's colorless. And that's really what this pack has going on for it. I have removal that's off color but better, or removal that's on color. And I think I'm going to take the Throwing Knife. I know I passed some, a couple of Wild Instincts, so that's going to be out there on those green decks. But if I end up in the red-white deck, I want a Throwing Knife anyway. And if I don't, I'm still going to be happy with the Throwing Knife. Okay. Another Unholy Hunger. Blazing Hellhound is fantastic, but I'm going to take the Topin Freeblade. I like Topin Freeblade. Everyone does. It's a 2-drop format, and there was probably some white in this pack that got taken, but I'm fine taking a 4th pick Topin. Alright, now is where stuff is starting to dry up. But we do have a Leaf Gilder. It's the best card in the pack. I have not fully committed to red, even though I really want to play that. Amperin Tactician is okay. Leaf Gilder is much better. I'm going to sort by color for now. I'll start sorting by converted mana cost once I have a better idea of what I'm getting into with my deck. I mean, first 5 picks, I have picked 5 very strong cards. Alright, what are we looking at? Celestial Flare is removal. Totem Guide Heartbeast is really nice. You can search up your pesky enchantments. Act of Treason is okay in the, anything that gives you a sack outlet. I don't have any of those yet. I think I'm going to take the Rogue's Passage. Rogue's Passage is just always playable. It finishes a lot of games. And these are pretty good, but again, this is color neutral. And will go in just about every deck I play. At least the first one. Now we are looking at kind of garbage. This pack is very little of interest. I'm probably going to take the Guardian Automaton. Again, color neutral, which... I mean, I just don't see anything great coming around this late right now. Yolk-Dox is, probably the best non-Guardian Automaton card in this deck. Maybe Infernal Scarring. Maybe Dragon Fodder. But no, I'm just going to take the Automaton. Okay. Well, that's a pretty late Charging Griffin. I'd be fine taking the Subterranean Scout. But Charging Griffin is better. And I do shade toward white right now. Returned Centaur is much more playable than I want it to be. I think it's kind of a crappy 4-drop, but in a format where 4 toughness is a real thing. Okay. Not anything in here I want to play, so I'm just going to take the wilds. I don't want to try to splash anything. I'll take the Might of the Masses. That's a good combat trick. Orchard Spirit for the body or Grasp of the Hieromancer, but I really like Grasp of the Hieromancer, especially... it looks like red got cut from me pretty bad, but I'm not going to rule it out. I'm going to move these lands over to the sideboard. I saw no blue that would make me want to go there, so I'll take the Brawler's Plate. Hope to not have to play it. Well, I've not seen anything so far. I mean, 2 of these sideboard cards will go on my deck, so really I'm only junking 3 of them right now. But I would not say that I've set up my deck as a very strong deck at the moment. I mean, my only bomb is probably the card I'm not going to play. Having passed those Wild Instincts, though, I can't expect a lot of green to come my way this turn. I mean, if anything, white might be the open color, which I can't imagine that to stay that way for long. Okay. Well, the best card in the pack is Soulblade Jin. The blue in this pack is fantastic. Claustrophobia, Citadel Starfish. I'm going to take the Soulblade Jin over the Boggart Brute. Yes, it's the 4th color I've picked, but Soulblade Jin is just a very strong card. And I don't expect any of this blue to wield, but I also didn't see a whole lot in either green or red coming back my way. So moving into blue isn't the end of the world. Oh, wow. Alright, I take that back. Ember My Hellion. This card is fantastic. If I can get some more red. Sucks that I'm passing the Stalwart Avon, but Ember My Hellion is every bit as good as Soulblade Jin, and it's just it's a color combo I'd much rather play. Mrs. Revelation is also here, and I like that, but I like Ember My Hellion better. So, Noosh. And now in this pack I'm seeing nothing. Could try to go Naya, which would be a bad idea. Because I don't have much fixing. It's either that or Smite for the sideboard. Fire Fiend. Take the Hierarch. All those other cards are very replaceable. Okay. Alright. Eurus' Champion. I want that. Celestial Fair's great. Charging Griffin's great. Bogger Brood is great, but yeah, I think I'm going to force red-white. And realistically, I mean, I could splash. It's not ideal, but it's doable. I do have a lot of making up to do when it comes to ground, though. I have 2 pieces of removal. You know, having waffled so much early on did not do me any good. Poof. Okay, so I could take Foundry of the Councils, which is just fine. Oromancer, it's pretty playable. Bonded Construct, if I get really aggressive, could also be playable. But I think I'd rather take the first Oromancer over the first Construct, because I expect to be able to get either of them back. And if I can get some Infectious Bloodlusts or some Suppression Bonds, I've only got the Grasp of the Hieromancer right now, but Oromancer, you know, will help get some recursion, some card advantage there. Yeesh. That is a whole lot of cards that I'm not playing. Okay, a Topin Freeblade this late is a fantastic pickup. I would really love for that Enshrouding Mist to come back, but, I mean, there's just all sorts of great cards here, especially in blue. But the Topin was a pretty easy pick. White is our primary color. I can't consider red a splash because these are both double red, but oof. Can you imagine just getting dirty down with an Ember My Hellion that's got Eurus' Champion? I mean, any of the other awesomeness that goes along with it. Did need to start finding some red to justify these, because I think these are 2 extremely powerful cards. In reality, I'm looking for Infectious Bloodlusts. If I don't end up with at least 1 or 2 of them, I'm not going to be happy. Alright, I'm going to take the Wild Instincts here. I think this could be a splash situation where I just throw in the green. I'm going to take the Goblin Glory Chaser. 1-drops are not very good. It does have the renown. I mean, it's really only good on turn 1 if they have no response. But I kind of need bodies. And I would rather cut that when I don't need it than end up at like 14 creatures. And if I'm taking Wild Instincts, I mean, I might even do that. Need to see some Prickleborers. No, but I'll take a Mighty Leap. Really? Wow. Nyssa's Revelation comes back. This could be a Sigil of Valor deck. I could see that. Let's give it a shot. Because Bellows Lizard, but it's just a really bad card. Alright, I'll sideboard the Smash. Looking at... I mean, in theory, I only need 5 cards from the next pack, but they need to be some really good 5 cards. Yeah, I'll sideboard that. I will get that out of the way. If my opponent has like a Priest of the Bloodright or a bunch of Thopters, maybe I'll bring this in. Okay. Now we're talking. Helm of the Gods is not something I'm going to play. Another Unholy Hunger. Swift Reckoning is removal that I really like. Again, there's an Infectious Bloodlust that I would like to see coming back, but this is really good removal on color. And if I'm stupid lucky, maybe this will wheel. Again, I do need to focus on getting some creatures. I'd like to get probably... Oof. Eek. Or Fiery Conclusion. More removal. Now, if a card like Dragon Fodder comes back, I will definitely snap that. But Fiery Conclusion is just fine for removal. Gets rid of most creatures in the format. So now I'm looking at... Alright. And Fiery Impulse. Knight of the Pilgrim's Road may wheel. If so, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I think it'll be Charging Griffin. Another way to take to the air. Probably start looking at getting rid of those. Because if I'm going to splash, I really would like to just splash for the Wild Instincts and the Leaf Gilder. Yeah, do I have any enchantments that matter? I mean, Grasp. And that's it. But Totem Guide Heartbeast. I don't want to splash for a Vastwood Gorger. I would rather take the Totem Guide. I am coming on to the point, though, that I do need to just take creatures. But not Enlightened Acidic. This card can really wreak havoc if you have the right deck. I don't. So, Shrouding Mist it is. Shrouding Mist is just way better than Enlightened Acidic. But I'm still... It was almost to the point where I needed the creature that much more. But... Oof. Okay, Prickleboar. That makes me feel good. I like that Prickleboar. Because that's a quality creature. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for right now. Boggart Brute is another quality creature. I like it a lot better than the Knight of the Pilgrim's Road. The Knight can get bigger, but this has evasion, and it goes much better with Ember Maw Hellion. 2, 4, 6, 8. Alright, so I'm going to get a Swamp out of this pack. And this should be back to pack 1. See if maybe that Infectious Bloodlust Wield. Probably get Sigil of Valor out for now. Maybe... Yeah, that's pretty much all I would want to get rid of. What have I got for removal right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good on removal. Here, I'm going to take the Knight over the Mage Ring Bully. It's just a much better card. And I've got enough to go on. I've got enough to do early in the game. By turn 2. I'll get a little more sideboard hate against a Thopter deck. Do I really load up the sideboard hate, or do I take Gampering Tactician? And I think we know that answer. I need the creatures. Oh, that would be just awesome. Running across the Thopter deck, just nope, 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 and you take 9. So, if I do cut green and play it smart, what am I looking at? I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources of removal, which I think is pretty good. 1 combat trick, 2 combat tricks. Downside is somebody did nap up all of my Infectious Bloodlusts. But this isn't terrible. I mean, I've got enough early game. I'm not going to be... I'm going to be the aggressive deck. Not playing any of these. Not playing that. Yep. This is just going to be my deck. I'm at 23 right now. I've got a pretty solid curve. I mean, it's a little... I suppose it's not really much of a curve. It's more of a line with a bump. But I've got some very powerful cards. Ember Maw Hellion, Chandra's Fury. This Iris' Champion can really do work. So, taking the Rogue's Passage, taking Evolving Wilds, and 15. So I'm going to be looking at 9-6. Yeah. Because I do want access. I mean, I want access to red early, but really it's late game. If I can't get these two down, you know, on turn 3, that's a bummer. But if I can't get, you know, a Knight of the White Orchid down on turn 2, that's really bad. So, I'll submit this, and then we'll come back for round 1.